Welcome to the studio and our Defining Moments of Success series. Our purpose in presenting this series is to give you an opportunity to learn from the best in the business. And by hearing their stories, the good, the bad, and the ugly, be able to take something from that and apply it to your careers. Having the skills of a finely tuned artist is one part of the equation, and knowing how to market yourself to be a successful working actor is the other part of that equation. So by bringing in these special guest speakers, writers, producers, and directors, we hope to provide a dialogue that will inspire you to take that next step in creating your future as a successful working actor. So now, without further ado, it is my great pleasure to introduce to you one of the best and brightest people in this industry. As you all know, he was nominated for 2 Academy Awards for writing and producing Good Night and Good Luck. He recently directed The Men Who Stare at Goats, which got some wonderful reviews, and has just finished shooting The American, a film that he's producing starring George Clooney. Please give a warm welcome for Grant Heslov. Okay, so obviously we are really thrilled and honored to have you here tonight.
It's great to be here.
So let's start with telling us a little bit. Obviously, we know each other for a long time, studied together. He was so funny. I mean, you were awesome in every improv that I ever put you in. You just killed it.
I was young. I didn't have any worries back then.
No
so
worries.
Easy.
Absolutely
yeah.
no worries. And honestly, I thought that you would have a fabulous career doing comedy. So how important do you feel it is for an actor to train and to really know his craft?
I think it's a waste of time. No, I think going to class is the single most important thing that you can do.
Right.
Going to class, doing plays, going to class.
Right.
To me, I mean, that's the only way you learn how to do it.
Right.
And you know, and consequently, I studied until I was basically until I sort of switched over until I was 30. So for whatever that was, from 16 to 30,
right,
I was in class, even when I was working, particularly when I was working.
Right,
you know?
Right. So you see what you have to look forward to.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think that it's really it's the only way you get better.
Okay, so let me ask you: has there been a defining moment for you in your career?
I would say that there have been several defining moments, because I think as you define yourself and then things change and you define yourself again.
Yes.
So certainly my experience with Good Night and Good Luck was a defining moment, because it allowed me to sort of play in a different league that I hadn't played in before, and that opened up a whole new set of opportunities.
Right.
But I mean, there's a defining moment that I remember when I hadn't been working. I mean, I hit like a real dry spot, and I was, I wasn't married yet. I didn't have a wife. I wasn't supporting anybody but myself. But I just was like, this has really been hard. And I remember that there was an agent, this guy named Chris Barrett. He just said, "How's it going?" I said, "I'm struggling a little bit." And he's like, "Look, you're smart. Why don't you come work for me? And you'll train, and in a year you'll be making X, and you'll be great, and blah 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 blah." And I was like, Jesus, I wonder if I should do this. And I was racked with sort of and I talked to my friends, and I talked to people, and the next day I got a call to go on audition for Jim Cameron for a film. And I went to this callback with Jim, and he had a camera, and he's like, and we worked for about 2 hours, and we just worked on the scene. I'd never really had an experience like this with a director before. I mean, and
Was it fun? Was it nerve-wracking?
It was nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely nerve-wracking.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, some people love to audition. I'm not one of those people. I always found it to be nerve-wracking. And so I ended up getting that part. And, you know, but you know, I had a real moment of self-doubt that I really was about to sort of, you know, give up my dream.
Right.
In a way.
Right.
To do something that I don't think I would have been very happy doing.
Mm-hmm.
And I learned that lesson. I learned the lesson that, you know, you just gotta, you know, you have to stick with it. Well, you don't have to stick with it unless you really want to. But if you really want to,
right,
you got to stick with it. And it's the stick-to-itiveness, and the going to class, and doing plays, and just doing anything you can to create your own luck.
Right. And it really does come down to that, doesn't it?
People say, "Guy, you're really lucky. You're really lucky." And I said, "Yeah, I am. I'm incredibly lucky, but I'm only lucky because I worked really hard at it."
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, let's open it up for some questions. Anybody have a question?
Yeah. What is it like, from a producer's point of view, casting television versus features?
In television, there's just no time. And so when somebody comes in to read, for me personally, it's like I don't want a lot of hoo-ha beforehand. I don't want a lot of small talk. I don't want to think, you know, hello, how are you? And then I just want them to nail it. And
that's really good to know.
In features, you're sort of looking more for, at least this is for me, and everybody's not this way. I'm looking for more of an essence. You know, I'm looking for, it's not just the reading, you know, because a lot of times people they're just not good readers, and, you know, they just tank.
If you could change a specific event of your past about your career, what would it be?
I wouldn't have been so hard on myself, probably. That's probably the biggest thing, is I just wouldn't have been so hard on myself.
Okay.
Probably not even just casting, but sort of everything, even in the work, audition, class, actually doing the jobs. You know, I think I would have taken it a little easier on myself.
When somebody comes in and reads for you, is there something about the person that that makes you want to cast them? Is it like a part of the actor, or is it just their performance?
I don't think you can separate the two. I think it's both. I think it's you know, it's the way they look, it's the way they behave, it's the way they act, it's the way they interpret the scene. So, yeah, I don't think I can. I don't necessarily separate them.
So it's like the whole.
It's the whole package. Yeah.
I was going to ask you. I feel like a lot of actors feel slightly paralyzed, like with this feeling of helplessness, where they don't really know what they can do to further their career, and they feel like they have these managers and agents who are maybe not doing enough for them, or not working hard enough, and they're missing opportunities. What would you recommend for an actor to do kind of in an early stage to further their career?
I don't think there's anybody in this room who doesn't have the feeling of like, what more can I do? I don't feel like I'm doing enough. I'm not getting anywhere, or it's not happening. So the first thing I'd say is just observe that feeling and just know that it's okay, because everybody has it. Movie stars have it. Everybody has that feeling at a certain point. It's just a part of who we are. But the next thing I would say is that there are things that you can do. You know, you're doing one of them right now, which is being in class. That's one thing you can do. Trying to find ways to practice your craft. The thing about acting is, you know, you don't have to wait for somebody to hire you to do it. When I was a kid, we didn't have these things. We didn't have these video cameras. I mean, anybody here can get a video camera. You can make your own little films now. You can edit them on your own computer. Mm-hmm. You can go on YouTube. I mean, there's a million things you can do to keep moving forward.
I think that's a great place to end. Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, guys.